Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the serious Strategy Gamer, and we are playing Hearts of Iron for In the Man the Guns expansion, playing as Japan. I advanced time in between episodes a little bit, so I played a couple of months here off screen, mostly because our forces were refitting. We have now gotten to the point where all of our battleships are up to the new standard that we introduced a short while ago, so I think that is very good. You can see they are coming back from training, that's why they have low organization, but other than that we do now have extremely good heavy attack ships. These stats do differ a little bit because Yamamoto over here does buff it in various regards, so yes, these are now much more fearsome ships, and that is brilliant, and that is good. But in between episodes, the warfare was mostly attritional, so we did... the biggest things that did happen were we did do a little island campaign down here, captured a couple of islands from the Dutch East Indies, and of course landed in Australia, as you probably already saw. I don't really expect too much resistance from Australia. They have a very small army, and I don't think they'll be able to reinforce much, unless of course the Americans do come to their help, but yeah, basically I hope that's not going to happen. Other than that, there is quite a bit of warfare in Europe, including Moscow has been captured, and it has actually been captured by the legionary Romanian faction, so that's pretty new, and that is certainly very substantial Romania that we can see over here. In North Africa, the Italians have thrown the Brits out of Sicily. On the other hand, most of this area seems to be under the control of the Allies. On the other hand, the Axis have pushed into Egypt from the south, so they are now advancing onto Cairo, and that did trigger us to advance our convoy raiding into the Red Sea and into that area, and that actually had some great effects. So if we do look at the lost ships, you can see that over the last month the Americans and some other factions lost an enormous amount of convoys in that region. So yeah, that is pretty happy for us, but other than that there's not much change, no big naval battles or anything, so that's why we advanced time a little bit here. The reason I am jumping in back now though is because I want to talk a little bit about what we've seen so far, and we want to design one more ship in that regard. So, I think so far our problem has been very consistently that we were not able to kill enemy light ships. So whenever the destroyers were gone, whenever the light cruisers were gone, we were able to turn the tide very, very quickly. But before that, we weren't able to actually get into many torpedoes. And to be completely honest, I don't particularly know whether the mechanics of the long range torpedo actually work. The torpedo screen penetration 20%, I'm not sure whether that works. I haven't seen really that many torpedo hits, as long as the enemy does have some destroyer screen. So, what we consequently need to do is we need to find a better way to whittle down the enemy destroyer and light cruiser screen and make it much, much harder for them to sustain that. And for that reason, we want to think about a new light cruiser design. So, a new or updated light cruiser design. And I think what we have to do is use our old Kuma class, because we do have quite a lot of them. The alternative would be to design a ship from the bottom up, and that would certainly be very tempting, because it would be so nice to do this. We could use good armor, we could use dual purpose guns, we could use some light cruiser batteries. Or do we actually need that, or can we... Isn't this a little better? Now let's pick the light cruiser battery. For that field we could pick... Whoa. We could pick dual guns over here. We could pick secondary batteries over here, secondary battery over there. And you know what, let's pick a light cruiser design over here. These could be free or whatever. We could do some anti-air, some good fire control system, some good radar dishes, and so on and so forth. The problem with that is it would be fairly expensive at 5,000 points, although it would do certainly the job of having a high light attack very, very good. But it's not available quick enough, so that is not a good solution for us. What we are going to instead do is we're going to look at our existing ships. and we are gonna upgrade them. So the disadvantage is, of course, it's an older ship. There's only so much room for improvement, but there is some. So firstly, we can equip it with dual purpose guns in a secondary position. So basically these little guns down here. Secondly, we can advance its battery, so we can pick the more modern... I always pick the wrong one, I don't know why. So we could pick the more modern light cruiser guns. We can equip it with some anti-air. I don't want to draw the max speed too far down, so we're going to keep it as that. We're going to give them better torpedo launchers, because that is the theme of the game, of course. We're going to equip it with radar, and we're going to equip it with good fire control. And then what we can do, just to add a little bit onto that, is remove these stupid mines and actually place some more AA on this ship. So that is a very, very different ship to what we started with. Before that, we only had about light attack of lower than 10, so it was about around 9. Now we are 24, so basically 2 to 3 times as much. Light piercing has increased significantly, so that's important to destroy light cruisers. Torpedo attack has basically doubled. We didn't even have anti-air on our light cruisers before. Now we do have not a ton, but quite a substantial amount. Surface detection nearly doubles, and that's perfectly fine. Speed does drop down a little bit, but I think we will still be fine. If we do consider where these ships will be used, they'll be used in concert with big ships, so I think that speed is pretty much exactly where we want it to be. Right, so all in all, honestly, I'm fairly happy with this design. It's 4,000 costs, which does mean that converting it will cost about 2,400 or so, but honestly, that's fine. That's our first upgrade of a light cruiser that we've done so far, at least of the main light cruiser. So yeah, in that regard, I'm pretty happy. So we're gonna call it the Kuma class 1943, and we're gonna save that design for 33 naval experience. So I have been pretty much using my entire fleet just to train up for this time, but you know what? I think it's fun. I think it's a good idea still. So here we go. This is the Kido Butai, so our main strike force. And we can actually have a look at how much the upgrade cost would be. It's about 2,500 for this type of ship. We do have a couple of other ones. They're even cheaper, so you know what? We are gonna upgrade in that regard. And we're gonna use it for all of these Kuma classes. Sendai. Sorry, not the Sendai. Can I deselect? Nah, I cannot. Right, so you guys do upgrade to Kuma. Going to be 56 days, so basically 2 months, but I think that's a fairly okay time to be not conducting our main operations. And the reason for that is I feel very, very frightened about what the Americans have. The Americans do have immensely good ships in their in Pearl Harbor, and we just can't compete with them immediately. So I feel fine competing in this area where we do have naval cover, but outside of that, I think it's much better if we do it this way and yeah, basically redesign all of these ships. We do have a couple of destroyers in the pipeline, but I think these will be done in a couple of days max, so that's alright. And in about 10 days, we'll actually have some capital ships joining on us as well. And you know what? What we could actually do is remove some of these dockyards from the capital ships, because why not faster? Okay, yeah, because yeah, these were now reassigned to these ships down here, which is fine. But yeah, so yeah, as soon as the light cruisers do arrive, we should be fairly fine, and then all of that conversion will begin. There's a small naval battle up here. I'm not too concerned about that, so I hope that is going to be alright. And the Kido Butai should please not engage, actually. We are going to instead park it in Truk. We are going to not ask it to be a strike force. And what we could actually do is we could use our torpedo task force and temporarily combine these two. And that should be alright, because then we do have some light cruiser coverage, and that's okay then. Right, more American fleets joining. There are some light cruisers over here that we should in principle engage. and I would like to take our first heavy scout force. These guys are supported by light cruisers from from torpedo class cruisers, and that should be alright. Where are you actually? You're still down here, you're coming from training. Well, that's alright, do try to get over here. I mean, you are coming into here and then you should probably engage on your own, and that should be okay. We also have the first cruiser group. Where are you? You are over here, you are actually in this area. Why are you not engaging? It's a little bit funny how the patrol mission sometimes doesn't also engage on these battles where it clearly should be trying to get in. We do have our land-based naval bombers. Yeah, well, we lost a submarine. That's okay, it's not the end of the world. There are quite a couple of ships now, 14 ships in total. Who are you? You are actually the first heavy scout force. You are now docked in port. And the organization is recovering hopefully very quickly. Yes, good. Okay, we have some free naval dockyards, but I do believe that's a little bit of fluke. Is it? Well, soon we're gonna get all of these ships that are trying to rebuild, which should actually be part of the Kiributai on the way to refit. Yeah, so they'll be there soon enough, and that's gonna be alright. So today's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. Nevertheless, we did manage to do some damage to Phoenix over there. Yeah, more light cruisers down here. And since we do see them now, could you actually come in over here? Or do you think you have too low organization? I think that's what's going on over here. Well, that's a little bit unfortunate because I would really like to join this fight and kill some light cruisers. There is naval combat over here. Oh, so our destroyers joined in. And we're actually very successful in killing some of their destroyers pretty quickly by torpedo damage nonetheless. And actually the Springfield has also been damaged by torpedoes already, so that is fairly good. Quite a couple of them are damaged, but most of them not to a strong degree. There we go, the Springfield sank. I don't know why the noise was quite as strong as it was. Okay, so... yeah, so light cruiser sunk, 4 destroyers sunk, 5, 6. Come on, go for all of them. Very lovely. Very good result. I'm happy about that. And that was our torpedo boats, some of which of course do now need to repair. And I'm going to split them off individually so that they do return as soon as possible. Good. So yeah, that was pretty good result actually. We did try to take this island, or the Phoenix Island, but weren't quite able to do so. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but we will certainly come back at some point. Can I not assign you to that? Naval assault? Apparently not. Why though? You should be able to. Yeah, there we go. Fine. Good. Let's take a second to review the results. So some light cruisers, some things damaged there. Phoenix sunk from the air. That's good. And we do have a couple of naval results over here in this area. Good. As you can see, we've also we've also conquered all of India, I think. Whoa, I forgot about these news, didn't I? Yeah, that's fine. We have conquered all of India. We are now trying to arrange against Iran, and we should probably justify a war goal against them. Because actually, well, they do have the oil. So that's what we need, definitively. In particular, since the Soviet Union is collapsing and not going to be able to provide any oil to us anytime soon. So, spotted Navy, up to 2 capital ships. Let's see whether it's actually there. Why are you here? Do you receive some damage? Potentially so. Good, yeah, but now we see all of these light cruisers coming in, and that's alright. So, in that regard, what I'm going to do is reduce these guys again to very low priority, because without destroyers... That's not actually true. I mean, we got the other destroyers, so actually let's increase that, and let's ask you to be assigned to the Kiributai. So as soon as you come out of training, you'll be doing that. And that's okay. Good. And actually the early cruisers I do have a high priority on. It's the destroyers that I don't care about quite as much. And it's still going to be 10th of June. So yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and all of these guys, I mean, August, it's going to take a while to process all of that, but not infinitely long. So what we might actually do is go with a 50% allocation on each of these guys, so that we have a better chance of putting all of our resources in here at the same time, or being somewhat concurrent with the finalization of all of this. Sometimes actually true, maybe 4. 4 looks about good. So yeah, we don't really have that many over. Yeah, and as soon as the battleships and all of the other stuff finishes, that will get redistributed, and that's going to be alright. How long does it take now? Just until October. Okay, that's a while. But I do think with the more than tripling of the force, that's still going to be a very, very helpful exercise for us. All of these torpedo cruisers are close to being trained to the next level, so that's okay. We do also have some damage on some of these ships. But all in all, we are fine. Are there any naval battles that we should be aware of? Well, there are some light cruisers. So why are you not supporting this battle? Are you still trying to regain some organization? Now you're going somewhere. Over here. Into a battle against convoys? That's interesting. It's also interesting that convoys should have so much capacity. Well, we'll see. So, does it happen? They lost a convoy. That's okay. They lost more convoys. That's okay. But yeah, really, Micronesia is where most of the battles are right now starting. 12 convoys. That's pretty good. You should now be returning, shouldn't you? Did receive some damage there. Let's split off that one ship to repair. And yeah, we should have these big ships finished soon. Nice, very good result. Didn't even see that battle and it was over so quickly. Lots of light cruisers destroyed, lots of destroyers destroyed. Destroyers destroyed. Okay, so that's good. And where is the first scout group? Over here. So you are receiving quite a bit of damage towards your light cruisers. And that's a little bit discerning. But I think you'll be alright fairly quickly again. I mean, this is not a lot of damage except for this ship. The Tachikaze. Yeah, all of these guys will be joining more or less immediately. So that's good. We also have these 4 torpedo destroyers, light cruisers, which can join up right now. And that's pretty okay too. You guys need a little bit more training, but then you should also be alright. So yeah, 2 light cruisers right now, 4 more on the way. 5 more on the way, I should say, and quite a couple of them who will be rejoining from their repairs. That was a weird sound. Let's have a look at that in a second. Okay, we actually have 3 naval dockyards. So let's reassign them to these light cruisers. The earlier we finish that, the better. Just wanted to make sure that most of our ships are somewhat coming out at the same time. Good. So, more convoy results. Or battles. Convoy battles. Spotted enemy units, unassigned units. You can be assigned to this. You too. And at some point we need another army. Okay, I can't actually assign you to that. Interesting. Assign you to that army. No, this one. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Good. So, our fleet is doing okay. We have too few light cruisers all in all, but... Oh no, 8. 8 is actually fine. And we can actually declare war against Saudi Arabia. That's fairly quick. Another destroyer sunk. And you can see just how many resources the Americans still have. And they're actually able to pour that right into our front yard. Yeah, they do still have 150 ships. So that is still fairly significant. Can we actually advance down here so that we can sort of smash the Australians? That would be very lovely indeed. Can you get to Perth in some fashion? And you guys just try to advance to Sydney, Canberra, and whatever that town is. Brisbane. Yeah, of course. And do we have another cavalry unit advancing to there? You could try to go for Melbourne. Good. Yeah, so basically that should all finish up fairly quickly. You can certainly capture that. You can certainly capture all of this. And you guys should be part of this front. And really all of this should have an offensive line. It doesn't go quite into the sea, but down here. Good. Fairly good, actually. Right, so. Where are you going? Oh, you just defeated a ship? Oh, that's nice. I appreciate that. Good. We might actually check whether Yamamoto does have an upgrade ready. Yes, he does. So we could do smoke. Screen specialist. Retreat decision would be higher. Minesweeper, all of these are actually not really relevant. Fleet Protector, Blockade Runner, Iron Sight. Yeah, you actually can't really upgrade because there's nothing that you could upgrade to. That being said, I think, as I said, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. Do let me know whether you like the format, whether it's okay that I jumped ahead for a couple of months, since there wasn't too much warfare going on on the naval side at the very least. And do let me know whether you think our new light cruiser is going to help us out, because I do think just churning through all of these destroyers a little bit more quickly is going to help us out immensely. And in the meantime, we are going to position ourselves so that we keep the heavy scout force over here. And actually the Kilo Battalion should also be fairly okay in terms of its light ships, so yeah, we might actually keep it around as well and then engage wherever we feel necessary. Whether we want to sell it out into one of these regions is very difficult for us, because while we are doing fine, as long as we do have naval cover, we don't really get naval cover in any of these areas, so or air cover for our navy. So this does get a lot more complicated as we are trying to push more strongly towards the Americans. I think the most important next step is going to take Phoenix Island with a force of at least 3 Marines. I think that should be fairly easy, but then after that it's going to be more complicated. Right. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.